Howdy folks, welcome to Brew Day. And today I'm continuing on with the brews I'm doing from the yeast selection that was sent to me by Reese Williams. Done the Scottish Ale, which you've seen only recently, the Grain to Glass video. And today I'm knocking up a brew using this fella, the Wild Brew Philly Sour. So before I get into that, big shout out to all Little John's Patreons. As always guys, thank you for your support. There's a link down the bottom. Jump on if you're interested and have a look, see what it's about. Might be just a thing for you. Subscribe button down there, hit that if you're not subscribed. If you are subscribed, thank you very much. And either way, hit the like button if you like what's going on. All these things help out the channel, keep us going and brewing beer, which is what we're here for, mostly. Anyway, so I said I'm using the Philly Sour. So what I'm knocking up is a Gose, using the Nano Brewery in just a single 50 litre pot, doing a full volume brew in a bag. Just nice and simple. It's a 16 litre batch, and keeping it fairly simple. This beer has been inspired by this fella, the Here Goes Nothing, Blood Orange Gose. Yeah, this was done in a review of a couple other Chimney River beers. I'll put a link up to that if you want to go back and have a look. That was that's an absolute cracker of a beer. And I thought, while we're going with the sour beer style, why not? Let's have a crack at it. Well, something similar. I did send an email to Chimney River asking if they could give me any pointers or advice. I've not heard back from them. So going in with a little bit of information I've garnered from a couple of other brewers. Mainly I've been chatting with Michael Park from Hop Cartel up there on the Central Coast. He has been using blood oranges he's done a double IPA, and he's done a saison with blood oranges. So he's given me a little bit of help on how he's gone about doing it. There's not a lot of information available. It doesn't seem to be, I don't know whether people just really aren't doing it or what it is, but I couldn't find a lot of details around using blood oranges. So I got me a bag of them. It's blood orange season. I've only just come into season, so I got me the bag for the brew. So speaking of things that are going in it, hops. No, hang on. Malts for this brew. We've got, as I said, 16 litre in the fermenter, so 2/3 of a batch. I've got 2 kilos of Voyager pale schooner malt. That's our base. I've not used a Voyager before. Grabbed the bag recently. Keen to give that a run. I've got 400, actually I've got to change that. The recipe says 400. I've got 560 grams of pale wheat. I've used 560 grams of wheat. I originally was going 400 when I've done the recipe up, but that was the end of the wheat I've got here. It's Wyoming pale wheat, so that's all good. And I'll be adding 140 grams of dextrose in as well. Now the wheat and the dextrose, just trying to keep the lightness in the beer. Don't want it being heavy. Keep it nice and light. So I've treated the water, dechlorinated with some calcium sorbate, a little bit of sodium met. I've then added some chloride, some gypsum, about a 1.5 to 1 ratio of chloride to gypsum. A little bit of Epsom salt and some lactic just to bring the pH down. Measured the pH, it's sitting around 5.5. And I'll check that once the mash comes, just for your own reference, but I'm happy with where that's starting. So mash will be 65 degrees for 40 minutes. I'll ramp it to 72, hold it there for 20, pull it out. It's a full volume, all but about 1.5 litres, which I'll do the old boiled kettle and run that through the grain bag once I'm sparging. So that's her. We'll go through get this mash out of the way, and we'll look at what hops are going in after that. We've just come under a boil. Just going to get a quick check on our gravity. Okay, that's sitting at 1026. We're aiming for, the recipe is telling me 1031, but it's already allowing for the dextrose to be in there, so that's going to be pretty close. We have got a little bit more volume in there than the recipe, but that's not going to hurt us too much. So I think we're on track all right. So 40-minute boil is underway. Hop additions, all Citra. I'm going to drop in 7 grams in at 30 minutes. And then another 5 grams will go in with, I think it's 10 minutes. Give that 5 minutes, and then I'm going to drop in the blood oranges just for the last 5 minutes of the boil. Righto. We're about to throw the blood oranges and the dextrose in. I've chopped them up like so, just nice and small. I've never had a blood orange before. Not much different than real orange. No, real orange. Normal orange. Anyway, so I'm going to throw these into a grain bag just to make it easier to get them back out. But I will leave these in till the end of cooling. And then I'll be able to give this bag a good squeeze, make sure we get any of the last of the juice out. And we've got our dextrose. Then we will cool. So we got bloody, I added 10 grams of salt to the mash water as well. I forgot to mention that earlier because it's not on, because it hadn't been written on the recipe. I think it's going to be a little bit light on the salt, but I'm happy. I'm fine with that. I don't want to push it too hard. It's certainly something that this is a recipe that fair chance might get tweaked a little bit down the track anyway, so I think that's going to work alright. So, back to plenty of colour coming out of that. Don't want to miss that in. Get that in there. Oh, well. Righto, so let that sit now to drop out before we transfer to the fermenter. Righto, chilling's finished. I've pulled the chiller out, just letting everything drop out now. Righto, we're in the fermenter. We've got, yeah, it's pretty close. It's always hard to tell this bloody thing. It's showing 15 3/4 litres on the mark, so I think this thing's up by a bit. I'm happy enough with that. Gravity in the hydrometer will sit in the right place. It's not quite where I would have thought we're going to get, but I'll call that, we'll call that 1036. I said we're looking for 1039. So that's a bit under where I would have wanted it to be, but it's not going to hurt too much. It's still going to get us, should get us still around, yeah, 3.9, between 3.8 and 4% anyway. But that range, which I'm more than happy with that. So that's all good. Let's have a bit of a taster on this. Now you can see there the fermenter's a little bit of a, it's got a little pink tinge to it, not bloody much, but I really think there's probably not as much blood orange in there as there could be. But I am considering, and it's very possible that I will stick some more into a secondary. But we'll see how the flavour goes as it goes along. Oh, actually no, that's nice. That's actually quite tasty. There is a noticeable flavour of the blood orange, and obviously that is going to ferment out to some degree. Exactly how much we'll have to wait and see. There's surprisingly not as much sugar in the blood orange as you would expect. So it's only about 15% of the actual makeup that's actually sugar. So hopefully that will keep the flavour going. But I said we'll check this as it goes and we'll see. Well, I'll see. I'm not gonna do any video on the follow through. Just on tasting day. We'll see how we go. But as it goes through, once it's finished fermenting, I will make a judgment on whether it needs a little bit more blood orange on it or not. So only time will tell on that. So we're going to get this Philly sour in. I'm just pitching dry. Now the reality is this is probably pitching on the low side, but it's not going to hurt considering we're sour and we're after a little bit of, they do say half to 1 gram per litre, so it's not real bloody light. Going in the fridge, 22 degrees will be ferment temperature. Lallemond telling me on the website, I had a look, the expected ferment time is 10 days on this sort of brew. So that will be your standard sort of 2 weeks, 10 days to ferment, a couple of days to cold crash before kegging and bottling. So guys, that's it. Blood orange Gose. I'm calling this one the halftime bloodbath in honour of the old halftime oranges at junior sports. We all grew up on bloody oranges at halftime. Don't know how we would have gone with blood oranges at halftime, but anyway. So there we go. That's underway. So I will see you in about 6 weeks time for a taster on this guy, and hopefully she'll be up and going and ready for summer. So once again, thumbs up to all the patrons. Thank you for your support. If you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Either way, hit the bloody thumbs up, give me a big bloody like. So till I see you again with brewing beer, drinking beer, talking beer, good brewing.